Thank you so much for joining us on CGTN, Mr. Schütz. First of all, I want to get your response from the European Commission's decision on the electric vehicle imports from China. What do you think might be the impact after the tariff decision, both long-term and short-term?
Well, the impact, it's too early to say because for now it's an announcement, so it's not final yet. Our position was always clear. The German automotive industry was not in favor of the tariffs because we do not believe that tariffs are a good measurement to solve this conflict. The report that the European Union, the European Commission put out today made clear that there is topics we need to talk about, that there should be a conversation about it. But if we decide to really, use these tariffs, that might be the start of a trade conflict. And one thing is clear, trade conflicts only produce losers on both sides. There's never a winner in a trade conflict. So we think now that the fact and the figures are on the table, there should be constructive talks between the European Commission and China. The European Commission made, they said they invited the Chinese government to talk, to have a conversation about the findings to prevent the tariffs. And we believe that this offer of the European Commission to talk with China should be taken seriously. And we do hope that both partners will find a solution and will prevent the tariffs, because we do not believe that that is a good thing to happen. Also, when looking at the big challenges that we are facing together, there are global challenges like the climate crisis, and those global challenges need global partnerships. China and Europe need to work together on this, and trade conflict is everything else but what we need here.
Mr. Schütz, Germany has invested heavily in the Chinese auto market. So I want to know, what has been the reaction from the automotive industry in Germany?
Well, if you look at Europe, to be honest, there is not a clear opinion in all countries, in all member states. Germany has not been in favor of this anti-subsidy investigation by the European Union. Of course, we do want free and fair trade. That is most important. Free and fair trade, we do believe that is important. And now looking at the report, there are findings that need to be talked about and that we need to find a solution. But as you already said, we are heavily invested in China. We make big investments in China. And we do believe that the presence in China is very important to get the transformation done, the transformation towards climate neutrality, the transformation towards a more digitalized world. So it's very important that there is a presence on this market, and it's very important looking at the global challenges. So we once again hope that the conversation will be taken seriously, that the offer by the European Commission for talks with the Chinese government will be taken seriously, and both parties will find a solution to prevent these tariffs.
Well, China has expressed its grave concern and vowed all possible countermeasures. And as you've mentioned, there might be some constructive talks between China and the European Union. So what do you think might happen between now and July the 4th?
I think if both sides go open-minded into these talks, there will be a possible solution. Because let's be honest. I mean, who has interest in a trade conflict between China and the European Union? I don't think anybody wants this right now. I don't think a trade conflict will produce any winners. It will just produce losers. So yes, we had this anti-subsidy investigations, and the facts and figures do show that the extent and nature of subsidies in China are something, or are a challenge that we need to talk about. And this can be done. And I think if you have a critical, constructive talk, there will be solutions found. Solutions different from tariffs that make it possible that we both rely on fair and open trade. I think both sides will benefit from. China wants fair and open trade. The European Union wants fair and open trade. So both parties should sit together at a table and find a solution in favor of, also, as I mentioned before, looking at global challenges. There is the need for partnership, and we do not need another trade conflict.
Exactly. Looking at global challenges, where do you see potentials of future opportunities in auto and auto-related industries between China and Germany?
Well, Mr. Scholz, our chancellor, just was recently in China and had a few talks also concerning the automotive industry. And I think especially when it comes to automated and autonomous driving, there is a partnership between Germany and China that is has very high potential in this field. And in general, I mean, China is by far the biggest market. It's if you want to go big in transformative technology. If you want to, scale all of your electric vehicles, you have to be active on the Chinese market. I think the competitiveness of the Chinese markets is also important for the innovation of the industry. Competitiveness in general is a good thing. It makes the world more innovative, and also for the customers, it produces the best results. So yeah, we are invested in China, and we do believe in this partnership, and that's why we do really call upon both parties, especially on China, now that Europe reached out and said, let's have a talk, that will be taken seriously, and that we can really prevent this and go on with a constructive partnership.
Well, this year, the EU has recorded a slower growth rate of new EV sales compared to previous years. So what factors have caused this, and what impact might it have on the EU's 2035 goal to ban the sales of new fossil fuel cars?
Well, those are two different discussions. Of course, yes, we had a little bit of a slowdown when it comes to the electric mobility in Europe. That has different reasons. I mean, in general, the economy is kind of slow right now, so that also has its effect on the market. Then there were kind of bonuses if you wanted to have an electric car that are not happening anymore. So customers are a little bit hesitating to invest, which also is related to the charging infrastructure that of course needs to be there, and people need to accept electric mobility. So Europe needs to invest in charging infrastructure that people know that they can charge their car anytime, anywhere, any place. And I think in general, our investments of the German automotive industry are clearly and heavily funded in electric mobility. So we do believe that is the future, and its main part of the future towards climate neutrality. Looking at what you said about the fossil fuel, there is discussions about it. We have always been against a ban, a general ban of the fossil fuels, because we believe that different regions in the world require different solutions and different technologies. So technologies that include hydrogen, that include synthetic fuels. So and we should not talk about bans. We should talk about what needs to be done, that the goals that we have set for 2035 can be reached. And that is, for example, investing in charging infrastructure, investing in the competitiveness, in the attractiveness of the location side. So let's talk about how we can do anything possible to reach these goals, because the climate crisis is one of the most challenging jobs of our time, and it's our mission to get this done and to reach our climate goals. So that's where our focus is being on right now.
Mr. Schütz, let's look back at the announcement, which includes a 17.4% tariff on BYD and 20% on Geely and 38.1% on SAIC. So how do you look at the rate of 38.1%?
Well, I do not really want to comment on the specific tariffs, but what I can say is that those high tariffs are not a solution for the problem that we are facing. Tariffs have never helped to solve a conflict, and they will cause counteracts, of course. You know, China has already said that they are looking at measurements that they will take now. So I think that this is not the right way that we are heading at, and the different tariffs have, of course, different reasons behind them in the report. But in general, what we need to say is really all importance or all consideration should really now be on the offer of the European Commission to talk about this, to find a solution. Once again, this is not final. This is this can happen, this could happen. As you mentioned before, it's still some time until 4th of July. So now it's a time for our governments to sit together, for the European Commission and the Chinese government to sit together and to find a solution to prevent this tariffs. I think that will be beneficial for both sides.
Cooperation is always better than confrontation. Thank you so much, Mr. Schütz, for your time. Appreciate it.